Well. Hi guys, we are back again. Still no camera. Yeah, I'm going back home next Friday, hopefully. So next weekend. On the next one, I'll have the camera back and everybody can see my happy smiling face. So how are you, bro?
Doing well.
Well, a few things have been going on this this week, certainly over the last few days, and some of the pieces, some of the jigsaw pieces that I've been putting together and have been coming together are literally uh, crazy, off the charts. So I'm going to get straight into the share, bro. Um, and let's. Oh God, he's done it again. I have this stupid warning thing that comes on the screen when I.
It wasn't on ours.
Yeah,
It wasn't on ours.
wasn't it?
Not this time, no.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Round and round and round we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. I'm going to start with a little bit of fun. Somebody posted this in one of the groups. My mate's transgender. He used to be a dick. Now he's a complete yeah. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
All right. The yeah the carousel, round and round and round we go. In every journey, no matter how far or how long, I do not just end up coming back to myself. Where is there to go? There is nowhere to go. Brackets, no where to go. Back to oneself. I think this is Chiron last, Harry.
I believe it
Um,
looks like it. It looks like it.
yeah. Everyone I have met along the way was simply another variation or version of my own self, going through a different point on the so called scales of time, different experiences, different wavelengths of comprehension. On this expedition of life, what is it that I am trying to find? I'm trying to find myself, am I not? The dark night of the soul comes just before revelation. When everything is lost and all seems darkness, then comes the new life and all that is needed. Now, any of us, all of us that have gone through what we call the dark night of the soul is going to resonate with that. I certainly did. Only when one loses themselves are they then able to find themselves. Again, dark night of the soul. To chase after something indicates that there's a lack of something within oneself, and this creates a choice. The dog or the devil that chases after its own tail, endlessly going in circles, driven by the powers of desire to form attachments toward things that one feels that they lack. The crownless kings and queens of humanity, lost inside a dream of their own making, with no hope to escape, because it is always believed that there is somewhere else to go, something else to attain. Who then can realize that the question itself in the story is the answer? Now, where am I going? I'm going nowhere. Nowhere. What can God chase except more God? That is so profound. What can God chase except more God? Beginning and ending are two aspects of the same coin, and the house that prints the currency. So, as long as there is an agreement to accept that currency and spend it, the race and story continues unabated. So long as the heart remains attached to the relationship of this earth heart realm, it keeps one tethered to the never ending story inside of it. This last statement is in alignment with what is really meant by the exchange of beggars in relationship. Each one of us reincarnates back inside of that which we have become attached towards. Very profound.
And
Life and death.
that's why we go back to our same bloodlines.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
we return to the same
yeah,
families when we pass away. And
yeah.
that's why, because of that attachment, when that person enters into the light, they usually talk about a family member bringing them
Yep,
back. So,
yep. All clues. Life and death are one thread, the same line, viewed from different sides. Yes. Often a quality of life is talked about, but what is never mentioned is the quality of death. not just as a moment passing or the time directly leading up to this other side, but the entirety of the other side. If the coin cannot be separated from itself, would this not indicate that the quality of one's life must be in direct relation to the quality of their death? Would they not simply coexist as opposite planes of one another? Yeah, this is what we've spoken about so many times, Harry.
Mhm. Yeah.
The copy and paste. Yeah, yeah,
And like we
it's
said off camera, when you're dying, the death side looks at it's a good thing, but the life side sees it as bad, and vice
yeah,
versa.
yeah,
So you're looking at it from opposite points of view.
yeah, yeah. But they're two halves of the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. A diluted God must by default create the devil. Well, what does that mean? Again, two sides of the same coin. The God, what we know as the God, and the devil. The two wolves. Feed the wolf that Logan talks about so much. Um, now, this I came across a couple of days ago. It was posted on August the 11th. This is from Dave Murphy, also known as Allegedly Dave. Navigating the Matrix Part One. It's a must watch. It's awesome, absolutely awesome. I'll leave a link below, guys. He mentions, this is a couple of slides from his presentation, talks about the book of Enoch, chapter 69, names 22 chiefs of 200 angels. And the one that jumped out and jumped out and hit me was this one, Semyaza. You've also got Azazel in there. And believe it or not, you've got Daniel. That's in the book of Daniel. And they landed on, allegedly, they landed on Mount Hermon. And he shows the opening, the intro to, oh God, what's that? I forgot, that film company that has Mount Hermon and the 22 stars right
Yeah.
at the beginning of the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's Columbia. I think it's Columbia Pictures.
Mm, mm. And he says Mount Hermon is at 33 degrees latitude, 33 longitude from the Paris prime meridian, which is interesting. But anyway, Semyaza is in the Popol Vuh and also the Book of Enoch. Semyaza was the leader of the Watchers that became the fallen angels. That's these guys, 200 of them. Semyaza was their leader and said unto them, I fear ye will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall bear the original sin. They're talking about the creation of the slave race, the Adams, us, in other words, the Genesis 2 creation. That is what they're talking about. They'd already created the Yehudans in Genesis 1:27, and now they wanted to create the slave race. Semyaza also said, I shall create, this is from memory, I shall create a worker. Man shall be his name. I shall create this worker so that the gods may have their ease. Yeah, yeah, it's all there.
So who knows? Maybe that Samyaza guy is the same guy that that one murderer said, "Son of Sam," uh,
Mm,
son of
yeah,
Sam, Samyaza.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
who knows? Maybe he's related to Uncle Sam.
yeah, yeah. So Dave Murphy goes on to say, language collapses reality into a parallel system of thought that we interact with rather than actual reality. We've been conditioned to think in words. Psychedelic experiences are the brain reverting to thinking in pictures. If the language is restricted, then thought is restricted. English was specifically designed to program, control, and manipulate thought. We know that. We know that English was a created language. Spelling. Now, don't read that, Harry. I know you can, and I can. It takes you a minute, guys, but just pause the video and read that. It's absolutely. I just think it's awesome. And I had to throw this in because even you, Harry, when I showed you earlier, didn't notice the misspelling in the word beautiful. This is my friend's T-shirt,
Yeah.
and the word at the bottom should be Paris. But and people just don't notice. She's a bloody Chinese English teacher. Why? I said, you didn't notice when you bought that T-shirt? She said, no.
Well, we said off camera again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
a picture be
yeah,
more powerful than words that are strung together? You can totally control what someone thinks by giving them a word which puts them in a corner,
mm,
and limits their ability to imagine. Whereas if you
yeah,
show a picture, they can look at that picture and say, "Oh, I remember I did that when I went on my trip," and that
mm,
imagination explodes with possibilities. But
yeah.
words, I think words kind of limit you.
We affectionately call it Chinglish. Chinglish, yeah. And this is another example of Chinglish. This is funny. Chinese cock wanted. Looking for an experienced cock. Cock must be clean and on time. Cock must be available to work weekends. Hard-working cocks only apply, please. And this is a restaurant. So, it's funny because of the the misspelling, but
But
Chinese people
a
wouldn't
lot of
know.
that can be interpreted as innuendo, like someone did that
Yeah,
on purpose. If it was here
yeah.
in the United States, that would be totally innuendo.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So Dave goes on to say a programming language for the human mind. English letters and words are symbols like variables in computer languages. And it's perfectly right, which is exactly what that is. You know, they're
Mhm.
all symbols understood by a pattern matching memory retrieval process in the left side of the brain, taught by brainwashing, repetition, punishment, reward. Language represents reality. Reality can be programmed and reprogrammed with words. Yeah. Legalese. This is a great example. Register means to give title ownership. You register your car. Person is a corporation. Identify, make the same as. Understand, stand under, consent. Notice is an offer to contract. Summons is an invitation. And must means may.
If you go to Black Law's dictionary, all those words are defined in that same manner.
Yeah,
And so when you are speaking, if you were to go into a courtroom and you said the word, "Well, I registered my car," the judge, all he hears is, "Oh, you gave ownership away."
yeah, yeah.
So
And this one was quite clever. Just pause the video, guys, and have a look. Which one's bigger, the blue one or the red one? One of them is bigger than the other. I'll come back to it in a minute. Word magic. Now, why do we put word magic? Well, I've just suggested to you that one of those is bigger than the other. And you guys are going to be sitting there, oh, God, they look the same, because they are the same. The suggestion that one is bigger than the other has made you stop, pause, and try to figure out which one is bigger than the other, because I suggested one is bigger than the other.
yeah, and we all know
Word,
that perception is
yeah,
far more easily manipulated than reality.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
in some cases, something can be completely wrong,
Mm,
and nobody cares because it's perceived to be right.
yeah, yeah. With the right combination of words and tones, a hypnotist can change your reality, such that a raw onion actually can become a delicious apple. And until that suggestion is broken, it will be your reality. I I'm one of the lucky ones insofar as I don't think I can be hypnotized. And the reason being because I went to a hypnotist many, many years ago because I wanted to stop smoking. And it just didn't work. I couldn't. He said, you're getting sleepy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. The power of the written word. We've all had this word rammed down our throats for the last 2.5 years. Mandate. Mandate is a request, compulsory, compelled by legal process or statute. Okay. So mandate is a request. And we get, most people get their information from the television. You have that thing.
And you know why you have it? Because they say you do, and it doesn't
Yeah,
even really exist.
yeah, absolutely,
Just like that,
absolutely.
those two red and blue circles.
Yeah.
And you said, which one's bigger? Well,
Mm,
they're the same size, but you have to,
yeah.
you choose to pick one because you don't want to look stupid.
Yeah. Now, this is again, this is a screenshot from Dave's video. What you're looking at, guys, it's not very clear. Is a glass jar containing fleas, loads and loads of fleas. And what they did in this experiment, the guy put all these fleas in the glass jar and put the lid on and left them for 3 days. 3 days later, he removed the lid and none of the flies would jump higher than the top of the jar. So none of them jumped out. They were so used, they were conditioned. They knew they couldn't jump any higher because the lid was on. And once the lid was removed, they still didn't jump any higher.
So they were
Yeah,
conditioned just like Pavlov.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, he then went on to say, I haven't tried this, but it's the phantom gym experiment. Visualize yourself doing a full workout for an hour a day. Engage all of your senses in the imagination. The body cannot distinguish between an imaginary experience and a quote unquote real one. Now, this I'm not going to read this. You can read it out yourselves, guys, because I don't want to, for obvious reasons. Again, we have been exposed to programming over the last 2.5 years. This came out on August the 11th. Yeah, I rest my case. But in the meantime, so many people have been out and gotten the thing that you know crazy. Now, this came across my radar this week. Somebody in a Telegram group posted the link. Now, I'm going to try and post the link in the show notes, guys. But if I can't, for whatever reason, flick me an email, Nige, NIGEWZ, the number one at Gmail, and I will happily say I've downloaded it. I'll happily send you the PDF. This is the new history of the Yehudans. The Yehudans are Genesis 1:27 creation. And what Mullins goes on to prove or to demonstrate is what you and I have spoken about before, Harry, in Genesis 1:28. God said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over it, um, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over every living thing. In other words, go out and control, take over. And Mullins, go on, Harry.
Yeah, dominate everything. Yeah, dominate.
Yeah, yeah. And Mullins explains using written history, and his research is off the charts, how they've done it, how they've done it. Now, this is on page 97. Under their law, we are these people, are beasts who cannot be allowed to own anything, neither homes nor land nor personal property. Therefore, in carrying out the seizure of private properties from these people, the Yehudans are simply following a basic principle of their religion. Remind you of anything, guys?
That's why they call it the beast system.
That's right.
They throw
That's
that
right.
little
We
hint.
are beasts.
They
Yeah.
throw the hint in there
Yeah.
and they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, we have the beast system because we're
We're
going to tell
beasts.
you the 666 is evil, and we're
Yep.
going to fool you, and we're going to have you in fear." It's not.
Yep.
We are
No.
the beasts, at least according to them. They look
According
at
to
us.
them.
They look
Yeah.
down. They look down at
Yeah.
us.
Yep. Yeah. So that's where that comes from. That blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. But something else, guys, that jumped out and hit me. I just want to throw this at anybody in the UK that remembers this name, James E. Bulger, or Jamie Bulger. Jamie Bulger was a 2-year-old toddler who was murdered in 1993 by allegedly two 10-year-old guys, two 10-year-old kids. The body was left on a railway line 2.5 miles from where he lived in Liverpool. There are no such thing as coincidences. Now, this guy in the book didn't speak positively, let's just put it that way, about the Yehudans. right? So there's just I don't know that what the connection is, but there is a connection, and I think once people read this book, Harry, and understand the rituals that have been going on, they'll be able to put two and two together, and they're all in it. Do you remember, Harry, at the beginning of 2020 when it was first announced, we're all in it, or we're all in this together? They weren't talking about us.
No,
They weren't talking about us. They were talking about them.
it was a code.
We.
It's a code.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
talking amongst themselves. We overheard. We thought we were included.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
George Carlin said, you know,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not
Well, I mean,
we're not part of the club.
Harry, again, you made the great point earlier when you said it's all about perception.
Yeah.
You had people in the UK that were rattling pots and pans every day, clapping for for the health workers, because they believe we're all in this together. This is our problem. No, they were telling us. So our perception, or the perception of most people, was twisted. I mean, I saw through it. You and I saw through it straight away. We know exactly what they were saying when they said we're all in this together.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of the NPCs, the sheeple, just assumed it was talking about them. Another thing that crossed my path, and I can't for the life of me remember who it was. It was on YouTube, either YouTube or BitChute, and this guy was talking about, how Jason, Harry, talks about, the 33% being people with souls, and the 67% being um, the, the
NPC.
NPCs, non-player characters. Well, this guy was talking about the Akashic records not being what we think they are. Now, if you're watching let's say you're watching a 1 hour video on YouTube, right? And you're 20 minutes into it, and you've got to go to work, or you've got to go and do something, and you don't get back to that video for another 2 or 3 days. When you open that video and hit play, it's going to start pretty much at the point that you left it. So it's gonna start playing around the 20-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
Because it remembers, or whatever code is written into this remembers. And this guy was saying that the Akashic records are basically the same. They monitor or record what each soul is doing. Right now, you would think, hang on a minute, if there's 7 billion people, that's going to be a pretty difficult task. But if there's only 33% of 7 billion that have souls, that's a third. So you're down to sort of two and a half billion. You know what I mean? Which by comparison is not a lot. So I thought that was something quite interesting to consider. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I want to bring back from that Eustace Mullen uh, point that you were making, most people probably will not have heard of him because he was prominent in the 70s and 80s.
Mm,
And today, even when I first heard of him in 2012, you didn't have a lot of YouTube, shadow banning and
mm,
deleting people for believing something. So hopefully those videos are still up. If you Google his name, they may show up still.
mm. Eustace is Eustace, I think.
Yes.
Houston, like Houston or Europe, EUS.
Yeah. EU.
Yeah.
EU. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, guys, this book, I've said to you all on many occasions that there's not many things that I come across that kind of blow me away these days. And Harry, I know I speak for you as well. But this book is incredible. It's a real page turner. It's 157 pages, right? And I just happen to be on page 111 at the time of doing this podcast, and I was just listening to Anne Marie with Garrick on the 111. which, again, there's just, yeah. Oh, it's just a coincidence, Nigel. Of course it is. Yeah. So look, I will try and put the link below. I'm not sure if I can grab it from Telegram and copy and paste it. If I can't, if you don't see it there, then just send me an email if you want to read this book, and I will. I'll send it you, straight away. NIGEWZ1 at Gmail is the one that I use for that kind of thing. So yeah, so there we have it. Have you got anything that you want to finish up with, Harry?
Just last few months, been listening to some shows and channels that I like, and one was the Crow 777, and he recommended this book here called "The Influence of the Zodiac on Human Life," and or upon human life by Eleanor Kirk. And then I was watching Jason; he recommended the same book, and I thought, oh, look at that! I'm already reading it, Jason.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, really good stuff. Makes you understand exactly how we fit into this realm and how we are affected at birth by the zodiac.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt of that whatsoever. I mean, once you that video with Anne Marie with Garrick, it's a long one. It's 3 hours, but I mean, what he's done, in my opinion, and again, Harry, we spoke about this earlier, and I know you agree with me. What he's done, he's just given more evidence that we're in a simulation, that we're in some kind of AI program, which Logan talks about on Decode Your Reality, which Jason talks about over on Archaics, and Marie talks about it. We talk about it. There's many people now that are coming to the realization that that we're living in a some kind of simulation. Now, I had a very, very strange experience yesterday. And what I'll do, I'll save it for next week, Harry, because I need the camera, because for like body language. So remind me my strange experience with a young girl, and it's not.
Cool.
It's no, it's not anything like it might sound. But again, it was a glitch in the matrix. You remember my milk bottle story?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was something very, very similar that involved a teenage girl. And I'm just like, I laughed. The milk bottle thing kind of freaked me out a little. Um, and what happened yesterday with this young girl? She's the daughter of one of the people in the hotel, or works in the hotel. Um, and I just laughed. I mean, it should have freaked me out, but it didn't. I just, oh god, here we go again. But it was another glitch in the matrix. So I'll run that by you. I'll run that story by you when I've got when I'm back on the camera, guys. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, one
All
more
right.
thing. Remember, if do we have time? How much time we have
Yeah.
left?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, again, back to this book with the influence of the zodiac upon human life. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how um, Dave was on a uh, what is it? He was on a show and he was debating against Professor Dave. Now, Professor Dave is a Globie, and David from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
Oh,
He
Dave
was,
Weiss.
yeah,
Dave
David
Weiss.
Weiss. He was. They were debating, and so Professor Dave says, "Oh, come on, you know as well as anyone if you do the law of I can't remember gravitational influence or whatever. I can't remember the actual law he was talking about. The sun has its effect over all the planets, and then the planets have their effect over the moon, and there's a ratio of what can control what based on the distance, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I thought, well, he's got a point there if we believed in the heliocentric model, but the book actually breaks down and debunks that whole theory because it knows the book tells us that we are spirit beings and not true physical beings. So the influence that the stars and the luminaries have is over the spirit,
Yeah,
not
over
the
the energy,
physical. Yeah, the
over
energy.
over
And
our energy.
and the one that dominates the energies is who has control of the luminaries is the God or
Yeah,
the higher self. So the planets and the sun and doesn't affect us as much because God controls them.
yeah. And the funny thing is that exactly two minutes ago, you said, how much time do we have left? Just as you began speaking, the notification came up on the screen, said running out of time, 10 minutes left.
Okay, good.
Right. Like 3 seconds after you said, how much time do we have left? And there we go. I mean, you know, coincidence. Oh, it's just coincidence. Okay, if people want to think it's coincidence, then fine. But I think there's enough evidence out there now to show that everything is scripted. Our lives are scripted, pre-birth or pre-incarnation. The people that we meet, we're supposed to meet. There's the old adage, Harry. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And we're now slowly beginning to realize or find out what that reason is. And it's not scary. It kind of freak you out in the beginning, but it's a bit like that slide that's got all those weird numbers and words. You look at that and you go, what the fuck?
Mhm.
You know, um,
The one
but
thing we have to finally and once and for all get to is not to fear death. Death is
mm,
just another extension of whatever is to come to
mm.
another level, not to
and
revisit this. Not at all.
and I genuinely, truthfully, honestly think that one of the reasons that we have a mind wipe is because if we're being reincarnated, means we've been here before, means we died before. And if we could remember dying, we would have little regard for life in general. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody gets angry at times, and you have an argument with somebody, you kill them. If you understood what death, if we actually understood what death really is, people wouldn't think twice. And of course, it's the biggest hold that the Yehudans have over us is
It's
our
fear.
fear of death. You
Exactly.
know, um,
If you did away with that fear,
yeah,
no one would care. No one
yeah,
would be afraid of any repercussions.
yeah,
And then at the same time, they wouldn't be doing the bad thing to take advantage of others
yeah,
to begin with, because there's no
yeah.
advantage. So
And the other thing that is plain to see as well is you get a lot of these new agers and people coming along and saying that, oh, it's a classroom. The earth's a classroom. It's a training ground. You're here to learn. Well, bullshit. Because if we're here to learn, we wouldn't have to undergo a mind wipe. We wouldn't have
well,
to start
yeah,
again.
in the original realm, Nigel, it probably was a classroom. It was a way for us to
Yeah,
become better gods, but we're
yeah,
in a different game here.
yeah. Absolutely,
We're in the wrong
absolutely.
sandbox. We're in the devil's sandbox.
Yeah, we're in the devil's playground. That's why you know the channel is called what it's called, because this realm is the devil's playground. They're playing with us. Look what they've done over the last 2.5 years. Just one big game to them. You know what I mean?
It's one
So
big mind fuck. That's all it is.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they think that they've got us, but more and more people are waking up, even though it's still not a lot of people, not enough
no.
people. But
Well, I think if you subscribe to a lot of what Jason in Archaics talks about, 67% of the people in this realm right now are actually incapable of waking up because they don't have they're NPCs.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So we're reaching out to people that subscribe to this channel and other channels that we recommend and that we talk about. They are um, we're supposed to be doing what we're doing. You guys are supposed to be listening to this kind of stuff. You're not going to hear it from your brother or your mum or your school teacher, right? Because they're all there designed to keep you, basically keep you um in the matrix. So this is what some people refer to as our soul tribe. People like you and me, Harry, Anne Marie, Kim, Logan, Jason, and a whole host of other people. And of course, all you guys listening to our podcasts. This is our soul tribe, and together, if you look at all the subscribers on all those channels that I've just mentioned, that they would all come together and be one big soul tribe. So it is getting bigger, slowly but surely. It's getting bigger.
You have to want to give up this information and send it out.
Yeah,
Jason does a great job. He says he wants to get this stuff out as fast as he can,
yeah,
and get it out to as many people as possible, just in case his channel goes down or whatever.
yeah.
I'm the same way. I cannot hold on to information that I know is going to benefit me and others and just put it under my hat and just save it for me.
No, no,
I
no,
can't do it.
no. We
I'll
can't.
actually explode before I do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, this is why when I had my awakening, back in the beginning of 2017, and I put my first book together at the end of 2018. Which again, guys, I said last week, if you want it, email me and I will send it to you. And I thought I can't just sit on all this. I've got to do something. So that was why I created the channel in the first place. So. All right, bro, we're going to run out of time, so we're going to have to stop the recording right now. We will see you next week, guys. Much love. Thanks for being here.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Like and share. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye now.